Hi, welcome to Give Me the Bible, where God's Word speaks for itself. Well, we're talking about moms this week, and in the last video, we talked about how moms are a unique link to the heart of God because they are life givers, despite the pain. In this video, I want to talk about a second way that she links us to the heart of God in a unique way, and that is that she is a fierce protector of her children. Look with me in 2 Samuel 17. 2 Samuel 17, you remember that David had a rebellious son Absalom who revolted and overthrew his throne and forced him to leave. And now Absalom wants to chase David down and kill him. And he's kind of seeking advice about how to do that from his advisors. And listen to the warning that he's given by Hushai, one of his advisors, in 2 Samuel 17, verse 8. Moreover, Hushai said, "You know your father and his men, that they are mighty men, and they are fierce, like a bear robbed of her cubs in the field. And your father is an expert in warfare and will not spend the night with the people." It's interesting, when he wants to describe the fearsomeness of these men, he compares them to a bear, a female bear, robbed of her cubs. You know, you're out in the woods, you see some cute, cuddly little bears, you might be tempted to stick around and take pictures. Bad idea. You need to get out of there, because as soon as Mama Bear finds out that you are messing with her children, you are toast. You will be ended, and it will not be pretty at all, because everybody knows you don't mess with Mama's babies. In fact, if you leave a marker here in 2 Samuel 17, we'll be right back here in 2 Samuel, but in Hosea 13, when God talks about this judgment on these wicked people, listen to what he says in Hosea 13 in verse 8, if I can ever find it. There we go. Hosea 13, verse 8. "I will encounter them like a bear robbed of her cubs, and I will tear open their chests. There I will also devour them like a lioness, as a wild beast would tear them." Interesting, again, very vicious language, but he compares it to a female bear and a female lion. There's just something about a mom's instinctual reaction when she feels like her babies, her children are threatened, that just this toughness, this fierceness, almost kind of in a scary, intimidating way, comes out. If you ever remember as a kid, if you ran out into the street and your mom just grabbed your arm, she just snatched your arm, it felt like she was going to rip your arm right out of its socket. Well, why is she doing that? Because she's protecting you. You just ran out into danger, and her instinct just kicked in. She didn't even really care if it was painful for you. She's ripping you out of that situation. She's pulling you out of danger. Interestingly, we had a recent story about Shelley Luther in Texas, who had a salon, and the government deemed her salon a non-essential business and shut them down, basically. And after a month without any income, she didn't have any money to feed her kids, and so she reopens the salon against the county's orders, but she does employ social distancing. She tries to do it safely, wear masks, and put the waiting area outside, only allowing one customer in at a time, those kinds of things. Well, the state still shut her down, or at least the county did, threw her in prison for 7 days, fined her $7,000, and the judge told her that she needed to apologize for her, quote, selfish act. And she just said to that judge, "I have to disagree with you, sir, because it is not selfish to feed my kids." Here's a mom who's willing to go to jail in order to protect her children. Now, gratefully, that story has a happy ending. The Texas governor stepped in. He released her before she served the full period of time, because he thought this was just absolutely ridiculous, and he was right. And people started a GoFundMe account, and now she's got like $500,000 raised, maybe even more than that. So happy ending for her. But I pointed that out just to say that's her fierce protection coming out. There's also a really amazing story back in 2 Samuel in chapter 21. Unfortunately, Saul, back in his day, had broken a covenant with the Gibeonites, and God sent a famine on the land in David's time because of it. Well, David knew something had to be made right. I need to meet with the Gibeonites. I need to find out, how can we make this right? How can we fix this? And the Gibeonites, they did not ask for money. Instead, they asked that 7 of Saul's sons would be hanged. And that's exactly what happens in 2 Samuel 21:9. He gave them into the hands of the Gibeonites, and they hanged them in the mountain before the Lord, so that the 7 of them fell together, and they were put to death in the first days of harvest, at the beginning of barley harvest. So these 7 sons are hung. Well, 2 of those 7 sons belong to a woman named Rizpah. And listen to what Rizpah does. It's a little bit disturbing, but it just speaks to the fierce protection of a mother. Verse 10, Rizpah, the daughter of Aiah, took sackcloth and spread it for herself on the rock from beginning of the harvest until it rained on them from the sky. And she allowed neither birds of the sky to rest on them by day, nor the beasts of the field by night. Just want you to see, very disturbing picture. This mother goes out with her dead sons and sits with them while they are decomposing throughout the days or weeks or months. And every time a bird comes to try to eat and feed on the flesh of her sons, she chases them away. Every time a wild animal comes in the middle of the night to try to maybe drag her sons away, or again, eat from their corpses, she beats them away with a stick or whatever it is at her disposal. She's there day and night protecting her sons even after they're dead. This is a very disturbing account in many ways, but it's also very touching because it shows just how deep a mother's love for her children goes. And you know, when David finds out about it, he arranges that her sons would have a proper burial. At least their bones would be given a proper burial, and he honors them because of what she did. Moms, you're fierce protectors of your children, and you do that in so many ways. I mentioned the street example. You know, that's just kind of representative of what you do. You keep your kids safe. You do the best you can to watch over them. You give them rules like brush your teeth and go to bed on time, and they may rebel and they may think you're the worst mom ever for that, but you know, the reason you ask your kids and you make your kids do things they don't want to do is because of your loving protection. And the most important way that you can protect your children is spiritually, to teach them God's word, to fill them with a knowledge of the truth, to pray fiercely for them. There's a good quote by Robert Brault. He says, if you have a mom, there is nowhere you are likely to go where a prayer has not already been. I really like that. Praying fiercely for your children, teaching your children what life is all about, who God is, His character and nature. And as you do that, what you're doing is linking them to the heart of God, because God also is a fierce protector of His children, snatching us from danger, warning us, guiding us about how to navigate life in this world, being angry really when Satan takes advantage of us. I mean, moms, when somebody mistreats your children, you hear about your kid being bullied, doesn't it take every ounce of strength not to go over and strangle that kid and then strangle that kid's parents? You got to really tone it down and say, whoa, I'm a Christian here. You know, I got to handle this in a Christ-like way. But your immediate reaction as mom is, you don't mess with my kids. Likewise, how do you think God feels when Satan messes with us, when Satan tempts us and leads us astray? That infuriates the Lord. And He does whatever He can to try to protect us and snatch us out of the fire, even if it means it's painful for us and it feels like God's ripping our arm off and we've got to suffer a little bit. It's for our good. He's trying to get our attention. He's trying to warn us. He's trying to protect us. And even when we die spiritually, God was there. When we died spiritually because of sin, kind of like Rizpah's sons died physically and she fought off those wild beasts, even when we died spiritually because of our sin, God still stayed there with us, fighting off Satan. And He did more than Rizpah, of course, by giving us the power to be raised from the dead, by sending Jesus to die for us on the cross and to defeat death at the resurrection. Moms, you are a link to the heart of God. We love you. Again, we're grateful for you. Lord willing, I'll see you in the next video.